Okay, this is a Shindiawa AH254 hedge trimmer, and yeah, this thing's, I've had it for about a year now. I use it a pretty good bit, probably 3 times a week, doing hedge trimming jobs and everything. Some of the jobs have, like, I just got done doing a big job that was doing a median in a big neighborhood that went way back and stuff, and I was using this thing for probably about 3 hours straight and running it, full throttle the whole time. And that was the first big test, or that was the first really big test for it, because I've used it a lot with doing people's hedges and all kinds of stuff like that, but I've never really done a big job like that with it. Pushed it to the limit pretty much, where you're using it 3-4 hours straight at full throttle. Just the only break it's getting is when you're refilling the gas tank, but it held up awesome, and I figure if it can pass that test, it can pretty much do anything. And I don't use it just to trim hedges either. I'll do like trim little trees and all kinds of stuff. I mean, this thing is great. It'll cut anything that'll fit inside of those little blades. It'll cut. And I've had it for like a year, and these things are still razor sharp. I don't know how they stay so sharp, but I mean, it's like it's never been used or something. It's like they're self-sharpening or something. I don't know. But these things will slice your freaking finger off so quick. And if you're gonna get a hedge trimmer, I definitely recommend getting the long one with the articulating blade like this. Let me see if I can show you. It's an articulating blade. It'll do that, and you can move it around and get different angles and go different. You can go really high with it. I mean, this thing, if I stand it straight up, this thing is a good 3 feet above me. This is a 10-foot carport, I think, and maybe it's like an 8-foot or 9-foot. I think it's 10 foot all the way to the center, but this thing pretty much stands at least 8 feet tall, and so it really comes in handy. You hardly ever need a ladder unless you're just doing a big tree or something, but 9 times out of 10 I don't even need a ladder to do people's hedges. I see guys all the time with the little handheld ones that are only about 3 feet long and stuff, and they're, those things are tough to use. I used one, the first hedge trimming job I ever did when I was first getting started. I used one of those, and I just borrowed it from a buddy because I'd never really done hedge trimming before, and that thing sucked. My arms were so tired. I was having to go around. It took twice as long. I think 3 or 4 days later I went and bought this. I was like, man, you can really make some money with this hedge trimming, and that's what I started doing. And I mean, you really can make money. I usually try to charge about $60 an hour when I do hedge trimming stuff, just depending on how bad the job is. But if I'm looking at some hedges out front and they look like they're gonna take me about an hour to do, it's usually an extra $50-$60, and that's pretty good money. I don't know very many jobs that pay $60 an hour. So one thing about this, you definitely need to put it in a rack like that, because it can get damaged pretty easily. As you can see, I didn't used to have those racks, and there's a little tip piece that's bent. I mean, I can bend that back with a pair of pliers, but I just now noticed it, and it can run like that still, but I just now noticed that. I'll bend it back with some pliers, no big deal, but it is a little delicate up front right there, so you got to be careful with that little part. But yeah, other than that, it runs awesome. Try to start it up. It usually does take a few pulls. It's like, I mean, it's a Shindiawa. It's not going to start up like first pull. We'll take a few. Let's see. Might help to prime it. Man, even when you started with these H4 engines, they always take a little bit of idling to get going. Like, see, they just want to kill out when you first try to give it some gas. But you got to give it a minute or so to just idle, and then it'll get going, which is not a big deal. I can try to trim some bushes up front. I got some that need trimming. I'll try to do it. See if y'all can see it. Okay. See if I can one-hand this thing. It's pretty heavy. That's one of the drawbacks, is it's really heavy because it's so big, but your arms do get tired after a while, but it's not that big of a deal. Let me adjust it. Adjust it a little bit here. Okay, should work. Alright. Not the best demonstration video because it's pretty difficult to do this thing with one hand, but you get the idea. It really works awesome though. Alright. I can't really think of anything else to tell you about it. The main thing is just definitely I would stick away from the little short ones. Like if you're gonna have one. Now I mean if you have multiple hedge trimmers, yeah, I would definitely buy a short hedge trimmer and a long hedge trimmer that way. Because this thing, sometimes when you do get in tight areas, it is a little difficult to maneuver. You have to move around a bunch, but with the articulating head and stuff, it's really not that big of a deal. You can usually get the angle you want no matter how tight it is, but that's the only drawback is to being so big. But I would definitely get one of these first. That way you can still do everything with this. With the little one, it's going to be kind of difficult to do some jobs with the high bushes and everything. You're going to have to get a ladder and get up there, and you can't get on the backs. This thing is really good for getting the back side of bushes because you can just articulate the blade and give it an angle and just reach it over the back and get it instead of having to go back there or anything. So this is definitely the one you need if you're looking to buy your first hedge trimmer. Definitely my recommendation. It is a little pricey. I think it cost about $500, something around there, a little over 500, but you'll make that back in no time.